Hello friends, I am Ms. Shinde Bharati Machindra, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering in Sanjeevani College of Engineering, Kopargaon, welcomes you in the lecture series of subject Engineering Mechanics. Up till now we have completed 5 units of Engineering Mechanics. Now in today's video we are starting the unit number 6, that is based on the kinetics of particle. In our first video of introduction, we have discussed about the branches of mechanics. Mechanics is mainly divided into two branches, that is statics and dynamics. When the analysis of a body is carried out when the body is at the rest, then it is called as an statics. When the analysis is carried out when the body is in motion, then it is called as an dynamic. Now the dynamics is further get subdivided into two branches, that is kinematics and kinetics. Kinematics is a branch of the dynamics in which the study of body is done without considering the mass, and whenever we are considering the mass of the body, then that is called as a kinetics of particle. In unit number 5 we have studied the study of body when it is in motion or when it is in moving condition, but without considering the mass, so it is called as a kinematics of particle or a body. Now in today's video or in unit number 6 we are going to study the study of a particle when it is in motion with considering the mass of the particle. Now whenever we are studying this, the content of unit number 6 are Newton's second law, work energy principle, momentum, principle of conservation of momentum, elastic, semi-elastic and plastic impact, and impact of solid bodies. Now first, Newton's second law. So when we are studying the kinetics of particle considering the mass of the particle, then in that case here it mainly covers the work energy principle, impulse momentum principle, again the Newton's second law of motion, and impact. Now first, in today's video we are going to study the Newton's second law, and in the upcoming videos we are going to study the remaining contents of this unit number 6. So what is Newton's second law? When a particle is subjected to force and accelerates in the direction of force, then the resultant force is proportional to the magnitude of the mass and acceleration. It says that whenever a particle is get subjected to force, and because of that force it will causing the motion, or we can say it will get accelerates in the direction of force. Means, for example, if I am considering a block which is kept at this position, then when I am applying a force to that block, then the block will causes the motion and it will occupies a new position over here. It means that because of this application of force, the block get accelerates and it will be moved in the direction of force. Then the resultant force acting on this block is proportional to the magnitude of the mass and the acceleration. It means the summation of forces acting on this block is equal to mass into acceleration, or this m into a is called as this term is called as an inertia force. Or we can say, in case of dynamic equilibrium, this is summation of forces acting, external forces acting on that block or on the body, minus the inertia force will gives us equilibrium of that block. It means if the mass of the object or the inertia forces acting on the object and the external forces acting on the object are same in magnitude but opposite in direction, then in that case it will remains, or the block will remains in equilibrium, where m into a is the inertia forces. Now in case of rectilinear motion, here in x direction, if we are considering the motion, then summation of forces in x direction minus m into acceleration in x direction. Similarly, if we are considering the motion in y direction, then the law is revised as summation of Fy, means the summation of all the forces acting in y direction minus m into ay, that is acceleration in y direction, and that will be equals to further 0. Now similar to rectilinear motion, Newton's second law can be also applied for curvilinear type of motion in normal and tangential direction. In case of curvilinear motion, in the last video we have discussed that the analysis will be carried out into three different type of coordinate system, that is Cartesian coordinate system, normal and tangential coordinate system, and radial and transverse coordinate system. Now out of these three, the Newton's second law can be applied here by considering the motion in normal and tangential direction. So like here, a particle is moving in this along this curved path, then this is the direction of motion and a tangent is drawn at this point. Therefore the tangential force will be acting in this tangential direction, and this will be the normal direction. Hence, applying the Newton's second law in tangential direction, summation of Ft is equals to m into at, that is summation of forces in tangential direction minus m into at, that is acceleration in tangential direction, where at is the rate of change of velocity with respect to time t. Similarly, in normal direction, summation of Fn equals to m into an, or we can say summation of Fn minus m into an, that is equals to 0, where summation of Fn is the summation of forces in normal direction and an is the acceleration in a normal direction, which is determined as v square divided by rho, where rho is the radius of curvature. So in this way, the Newton's second law can be applied in case of rectilinear motion as well as in case of the curvilinear motion by considering the mass of that object, that is nothing but the m. Now let's solve some problems for application of this Newton's second law. Considering the first problem, the 50 kg crate is travelled along the floor with an initial velocity of 7 meter per second at x equals to 0. The coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.40. Calculate the time required for the crate to come to rest and the corresponding distance x travelled. Now considering a crate, here the weight of the crate or mass of the crate is given as 50 kg and it is travelling along this floor. The initial velocity of the crate is given as 7 meter per second. So initially it will be travelling with an initial velocity u, which is nothing but given as 7 meter per second. At this point x is equals to 0, that is nothing but displacement is 0. Now the coefficient of kinetic friction is given as a 0.4. Now calculate the time required for the crate to come to rest and the corresponding distance x travelled. So here, due to this initial velocity, this crate will be get displaced. So we have to determine the velocity, or we have to determine the time at which the crate come to rest. It means its final velocity v is equal to 0, and in that time how much is the distance travelled by that crate. So by using this Newton's second law, let's solve this problem. Here mass of the crate is equals to 50 kg. Then therefore weight of the crate is equals to 50 into 9.81, that is 490.5 Newton. Initial velocity is given 7 meter per second. Now crate come to rest, it means that velocity, final velocity v equals to 0. Also the coefficient of kinetic friction is given, this mu k equals to 0.40. Now draw the free body diagram of the given figure. So here, as initial velocity u is applied here, so in that is the direction of motion, and opposite to direction of motion, here the friction forces are acting. Then the weight of the crate is acting vertically downward direction, that is 490.5, and normal to that, a normal reaction is acting and vertically upward. Therefore, as the crate moves in x direction and there is no displacement in y direction, it means that the acceleration of the crate in y direction is equals to 0. Therefore, again using this Newton's second law of motion, first of all in y direction, which says that summation of Fy equal to m into ay. So in y direction, here there are two forces. First is W acting vertically downward, and the second force is normal reaction N acting vertically upward. So summation of Fy equals to minus W plus N, which is further equals to m into ay, and as ay is 0, this will be equals to 0. Therefore, here substituting the values of W as 490.5 plus N equals to 50 into 0, we will get the normal reaction N as 490.5 Newton. Now similar to this, let's apply the Newton's second law in x direction. Now in case of x direction, here there are one force, that is nothing but the friction force. So summation of Fx equals to m into Ax. So summation of Fx is only one force, frictional force, that is mu k into N, and as it is acting in opposite direction of motion, so it will be minus 0.4 into 490.5. Therefore summation of Fx equals to m into Ax, so 0.4 into 490.5 equal to mass is 50 multiplied by Ax, and hence Ax is equals to 3.924 meter per second square. Now as we get the value of acceleration in x direction, and the motion is a rectilinear type of motion, so by using the equations of kinetics, we can easily find out the time required and a distance traveled x. So applying the equation of v square equals to u square plus twice of as or ax, substituting v as a 0, u as a 7 plus 2 into acceleration in x direction is 3.924 minus 3.924 into x. The minus value is substituted as because the crate comes to rest. Therefore x is equals to 6.24 meter, means at a distance of 6.24 meter the crate comes to rest when it is initially moving with a velocity of 7 meter per second. Now similarly, again to find out the time t, v is equals to u into at. So v is 0, u is 7, again a is minus 3.924, minus sign is due to deacceleration, or we can say as the crate comes to rest, means it will get deaccelerated, multiplied by t, so t equals to 1.724. So in this way, by considering the mass of the object, we can solve the problem to find out the time required and the distance traveled by the block, considering the mass of the object. Now let's solve one more problem. A man moves a crate by pushing horizontally against until slides on the floor. If mu k is 0.5 and mu s is 0.4, with what acceleration does the crate begin to move? Assume that the force exerted by the man at impending motion is maintained when sliding begins. So mass of the crate is given capital M, therefore W is equals to M into G. Then coefficient of kinetic friction is given 0.5. Initial velocity of the crate is given 0, as initially the crate is at the rest condition. Now let P be the force required to push the crate on the floor. So considering the crate over here, which is kept on this floor, and P is the force, or we can say the pushing force applied, which is further shown over here by using principle of transmissibility, to move the crate or to slide the crate on the floor. Then W is the weight of the crate acting vertically downward, and now N is the normal reaction acting vertically upward, and F is the friction force acting opposite in the direction of motion. So applying the Newton's second law in y direction, we get summation of Fy equal to m into Ay. Again, as the acceleration or the crate is moving in x direction, it means acceleration in y direction is 0. So substituting the value, finally we get n is equals to m into g, that is mass into acceleration due to gravity. Then next, applying the Newton's second law in x direction, summation of Fx equals to m into Ax. Now here, for impending motion state, summation of Fx is equals to 0. Impending motion state, it means that the body is at the equilibrium condition or at the rest. So in equilibrium we know that summation of fx equals to 0, summation of fy is 0. So here summation of fx is equals to 0. So where in x direction the forces are this p in positive x direction and minus f. So p minus friction force. Now as in case of impending motion, the coefficient of friction is the coefficient of static friction. So mu s into n. So substituting the values of n, mg, finally we get p equals to 0.5 m into g. Then here applying the Newton's second law, summation of fx equal to m into ax. So here substituting the value and taking m as a common and cancelled, finally we get ax equals to 0.1 into g, or ax is equals to 0.981 meter per second square. That is nothing but the acceleration of the crate. Then example number 3. A lift carries a weight of, in the previous problem directly also we can use these values. Only the thing is that, or whatever this portion of determination of summation of fx, you can skip this step also and you can directly put the values over here also, that is p minus mu k into n, and putting p equals to p and n, finally also we get ax equals to 0.981. See, these steps are taken into consideration over here just because here to find out the value of p, and this p is determined by considering the impending motion state of the block, and here then considering the Newton's second law is applied. So here we are substituting the value of p as a 0.5 mg and mu k into n as a 0.4 into mg. So in this case the friction force is considered as a friction or kinetic friction. And then finally solving, we are getting ax equals to 0.981 meter per second square. So the next problem. Now here these are the problems related to horizontal motion of the particle. Now here we considered the vertical motion of the particle. So for that we are considering a problem of lift. So let's see. A lift carries a weight of 3600 Newton, is moving with a uniform acceleration of 3.5 meter per second square. Determine the tension in the supporting cable when the lift is moving upward, and second when the lift is moving downward. So here there is one lift given, and to this lift the weight of the lift, which is given 3600 Newton, is acting vertically downward, and whatever the cable attached to this lift, this will having a tension in the cable which is denoted as T1. Now again the direction of motion, that will depends whether the lift is moving upward direction or whether the lift is moving downward direction, and based on the value or based on the direction of motion, further we are marking the direction of inertia forces or friction forces. So next is here given, first weight of lift is 3000. Now acceleration of the lift, here the motion will be occurs in vertical plane, so it means that this acceleration is given in y direction, and the acceleration in x direction, that is equals to 0, as the motion is vertical motion. Now first of all considering when the lift is moving up, so in moving up, considering the Newton's second law of motion in y direction, summation of Fy equal to m into Ay. So substituting here summation of forces in y direction, so here there are two forces. W is the weight of lift acting vertically downward, and T1 is the tension in the cable acting vertically upward. So here W equals to m into G, that is equals, and m is equals to W into J. So here summation of Fy equals to T1 vertically upward positive minus W. So here T1 minus W and equals to m is W divided by G multiplied by Ay. Therefore T1 equals to, transferring this W to right hand side, W plus W by G into Ay. Now substituting the value of W as a 3600 plus 3600 divided by 9.81 and Ay is given 3.5. So solving this, finally we get T1 is equal to 4884.404 Newton. It means that when the lift is moving in upward direction, then the tension in the cable is equals to 4884.4 Newton. Now in the second case, when lift is moving in the downward direction, so again considering the table, here lift is moving in the downward direction, so weight is again acting in vertically downward and tension is acting vertically upward. So substituting over here the values of the forces, or considering the summation of Fy in y direction. Now to have the motion downward, W should be more than tension in the cable. It means that when the lift should be moved in downward direction, this W value should be more as compared to this T value. Therefore here, substituting here, W minus T1 equals to W by G into Ay. Therefore T2 equals to W minus W by G into Ay. Now substituting the values of W and Ay, finally we get tension in the cable is equals to 2315.60 Newton. So when the lift is moving in downward direction, the tension is 2315, and when the lift is moving in upward direction, the tension is equals to 4884.40. So in this way, even you can find out the maximum minimum range of the lift also to hold, or the tension in the cable also to find out its capacity. Now these problems are related to the straight line motion of a particle, that is nothing but the rectilinear motion. Now let's solve a problem based on Newton's second law when there is a curvilinear motion. So the statement of the problem: a bob of 1 meter pendulum describes an arc of circle in a vertical plane. When the angle of the cord is 30 degree with the vertical, the tension in the cord is 2 times the weight of the bob. Find the velocity and acceleration of the bob in this position. So here it can be shown a pendulum is there, and at the end of this pendulum here a bob is attached, and it is making an angle of 30 degree with respect to this vertical. Therefore tension or weight of the bob is equals to W, and tension in the cord is equals to 2W, as it is given that tension in the cord is 2 times the weight of the bob. Therefore here tension in the cord is equals to 2W. Radius of curvature is equals to rho. Let V be the velocity of the bob with which it is moving. A is the acceleration of the bob. Now as the bob is following a curved path of motion, therefore this problem can be solved by using the curvilinear type of motion system. So we are considering the normal and tangential component system in this case, and drawing the free body diagram. So considering this is the curved path along which the bob is moving, and if we are drawing a tangent line, then a tangential component is acting in this direction is AT, and perpendicular to that there is a normal direction, and the component acting along that is AN. Then the weight of the bob acting vertically downward, W. This will be making, now the axis will be N and T. So resolving the components of resolving the weight of the bob into the components along AN and AT. So you will get W, along normal it is W cos 30, and here it will be W sin 30. Now using the Newton's second law in normal direction, summation of Fn is equals to M into An. So forces in the normal direction, so here this is the normal direction, so in this direction here this is the tension in the cord, and this will be the component of weight in normal direction. So it will be T minus W cos of 30, and M is equals to W by G. T is equals to 2 times of W. Again An is equals to, we know the acceleration component in normal direction is v square divided by rho, where rho is 1 meter. So substituting the values in this equation, we get t minus w cos 30 equals to m into an. Now t is given 2 times of w, then cos 30 is 0.866 into w equal to m is w divided by g, and an is v square divided by rho, that is 1. So solving this equation, w will be taken common from both the sides and it will be get cancelled, and then there will be only one unknown. Substituting the value of g as a 9.81, finally we get the velocity of the bob is 3.335 meter per second. So with the velocity of 3.335 seconds, the bob is moving along the curved path. Then therefore the normal component of acceleration is equals to v square divided by rho, that is nothing but 11.125 meter per second square. Now again, to find out the tangential component of acceleration, at equals to summation of ft equal to m into at. Now in the tangential direction, there is only force is w sine of 30, mass is w by g, and at is the acceleration component in tangential direction. So cancelling w, finally we get at equals to 4.905. And now after obtaining the values of an and at, total acceleration equals to square root of an square plus at square, a equals to 12.16 meter per second square. So in this way, it is asked that find out the velocity and acceleration of the bob in the position. So to obtain this, we are using the normal and tangential component system, and in case of normal tangential, we know that v is equals to vt and a is equals to square root of at square plus an square. Hence we are obtaining the values of at and an by applying the Newton's second law in the direction, normal direction, and in the tangential direction. And further we are substituting all the values of forces acting in those two directions, considering the free body diagram. And finally we get the answer for velocity as 3.335 and for acceleration as 12.16 meter per second square. So here, by using the Newton's second law, we can solve any number of problems for analysis or by considering the mass of that object. Now in the next video, we are going to discuss the next content of this unit, that is work energy principle. Till that, thank you.